and welcome to this edition of Wealth Without Borders podcast. And today I'm delighted to have with me Simon de Raadt. Simon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Howard.
It's my pleasure. And whereabouts are you in the world, Simon, and what's the weather like?
I'm in Shanghai, so I think you have a similar view. It's been raining last night. It just stopped raining, at least where I am. I think today will be an okay day, but yeah, yesterday and last night was not that pretty. But we see the trees are growing leaves and flowers, so that's a positive of a foresight, I would say.
Yeah, spring is on the way. So for those of you who don't know Simon is the Vice President of Business Development Europe at HyperSKU. And having lived in China since 2011, he's an experienced executive in cross-border trade and e-commerce logistics. And the title of today's podcast is Empowering Online Sellers with Their Sourcing and Shipping from China. So this is going to be an interesting one and very valuable, I think. So it's 8 questions in 8 minutes, Simon. I've got the stock clock up and running and ready to go. So are you ready for the challenge?
I'm ready. Bring it.
Fantastic. Sounds like a quiz show, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So 8 minutes to go then, Simon. Who is your ideal client?
We help online sellers that basically buy the product in China and ship directly to the consumer anywhere over the world. And these kind of online sellers, they call themselves drop shippers because basically they only purchase the product once they receive the order from the consumer. So that's kind of the model of how they develop themselves as a drop shipper. And we help them. We empower them with the sourcing and shipping from China.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, I've heard of drop shipping, so this will be very interesting. 7 minutes, 27 remaining. Question number 2. What's the problem you solve for the drop shipper?
A lot of pieces are in the whole supply chain where it can go wrong. So there are many places where it can go wrong when it comes to finding a supplier, getting the right product, doing some quality check, doing the shipping. And quite often the shipping can take months, particularly if you buy on AliExpress, because this whole concept of drop shipping is you don't touch the product yourself. So no one is checking it for you. You just have fingers crossed after the order is placed. And that's something that is super important, that you have someone in place that can actually verify the quality of the product, make sure it's shipped out, that it doesn't show any Chinese characters, and delivered within 2 weeks. Okay. That's kind of the problem that we help overcome.
Fantastic. So all along the supply chain, really. So 6 minutes, 33 remaining. Question number 3. What are the typical symptoms people experience who have that problem? I know you mentioned a 3-month delivery window and Chinese characters. Do they have other problems?
Yeah, besides delivery, definitely quality of products. Quite often the quality is not on the standard that the consumer is expecting. So you get complaints there, and then there will be refunds. Then when that happens, quite often these drop shippers or online sellers, they're using social media and they're using payment methods for like PayPal. And if you don't deliver a good job, customers complain, then your ratings go down, your Facebook account gets blocked, your PayPal account gets suspended, and your business stops.
Right.
So all these small pieces kind of have a ripple effect that can cause your business to kind of freeze. Yeah. And I think that will be the end result that no one is looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. So a bit disastrous for business, that one. So 5 minutes, 30 remaining. Question number 4. What are the common mistakes people make when they're trying to solve this problem themselves?
A lot of them are trying to find the perfect product, the perfect store, and spend months of developing it, doing the branding, design, finding the right supplier. Once they have everything ready, they think, now we're there, and they start selling and no sales come in. And they're super frustrated. So they didn't test. They didn't test if there's a demand. And they didn't test what advertising strategies work and don't work. And that's always what we first advise. Get started first, get some experience, do some trial and error, and then you go into the branding and you create a whole story around it.
Got you. Fantastic advice. 4 minutes, 44 remaining. Question number 5. What's one valuable free action that the audience can implement that will help them solve that problem, Simon?
What's very funny is that a lot of successful dropshippers, they become coaches and start selling courses. That's kind of the main business model on YouTube. You always get spammed by these kind of videos and advertising. And these coaches are actually available for free sometimes as well. Because what you can do, you don't have to follow the course because a lot of information is already available for free online. You just go to YouTube or Facebook groups. But what you have to do is to identify a specific problem, like your advertising, your pricing, or whatever you have on sourcing. You find someone, ask that person, can they take a look on what you're doing? And then ask them their feedback. And we see the ones that do that kind of strategy, they go really fast. Right. Their growth within 6 months is 6-figure seller, or even 7. So that's something that I definitely advise. Make use of the people around you. Most people want to help you anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. 3 minutes, 38 remaining. Question number 6. What's one valuable free resource you can direct people to that will further help them with that problem?
Most of the sellers are using social media to promote their products. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Particularly TikTok is interesting. So we created a free ebook that can be downloaded. I will share you the link. And then they can get a strategy on how to use TikTok as a potential channel to generate traffic. That's what it's all about in the end. So that's the resource that's been quite valuable for the users that we serve.
Great. Oh, thank you so much for that. And we'll make that available in the link below the podcast. 2 minutes, 58 remaining. Question number 7. What concept or book or program or talk has been most impactful in your experience?
Recently, I started reading a book called Smart Business. It's written by Ming, is a former VP of Alibaba. I think it's published by Harvard Business Review. And they give a lot of insights on the logic and the strategy of Alibaba itself, on the whole ecosystem around, not just within the group, but also the companies that are connected to it. So that he calls that smart business, where you have a coordination of a network coordination and data intelligence. These together kind of form the smart business. And network coordination is more like an ecosystem where everyone serves each other. It's not one player dominant, but everyone has a piece of the chain that they need to take care of. And that's more like kind of the Chinese way of running a business. And then there's data intelligence of sharing data along the chain and reusing the consumer information so that you can optimize your processes, your decision making, all that kind of stuff. And that's more a Western mindset. So it's really cool how these two worlds come together.
Fantastic. My personal view is that that's the future, East and West coming together, we hope. 1 minute, 38 remaining. Last question, question number 8. What's the one question I should have asked you that you feel will give great value to our listeners? And what's the answer to that question?
Well, you already just made the sentence of it, of what the future would look like when it comes to global e-commerce. You just didn't put a question behind it. So let me just put a question behind that question about what the future would look like for Chinese e-commerce companies going global. I think there's two really ecosystems. You have the Western one, which is the GAAP, Google, Amazon, Apple, Facebook. And you have the Chinese one, which is the BATX, so Baidu, the Tencent, Xiaomi, and Alibaba. So these two ecosystems, they cannot be merged together. So they have their own independent area where they have to operate into. So to be able to, for Chinese to go global, they need to find a way to integrate with them, to be able to become part of that ecosystem. They cannot compete with it. The same for the other way, who want to enter China, they have to integrate. I think that's the key word where the future is going to for global e-commerce.
Fantastic. You've come in with a roaring 26 seconds to go. So that is a sign of, in my book, Simon, mastery of your subject, right? So wonderful value, really packed in there for anyone who wants to enter the exciting world of drop shipping and get it right, because it is quite complex. I think many are drawn, but few are chosen, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's only a few percentage that actually succeed. Yes. So yeah, to be in that, you have to really work hard and get educated.
Yeah, and I'm sure your ebook will help a massive amount with that. So thank you so much for coming along and giving us the benefit of your advice in just 8 minutes.
You're welcome. Very welcome. Happy to do so.
Many thanks for checking out Wealth Without Borders podcast. I'd love you to head over to iTunes, subscribe, and leave us a review. And if you'd be kind enough to do that, I would really appreciate it. And then if you want to know more about what I do, check out wealthwithoutborders.net.